Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the effects that Ehlers-Danlos has had on my digestive system. But first, I want to answer a few viewer questions. The first might be a little gross, but it's how wide can I open my eyes and how far back can I roll them in my head? I don't know, I've never seen myself do this, but I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm sorry if it's totally gross. Here we go. So that's that. And how far back? That's that. So I don't know if that helps you at all, but I hope it does. The next question was, can I put my legs flat on the floor, sitting up, with my toes up on one foot, and my shin bones perpendicular? So I think this is what you're talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and do it right now. Let me get situated, and this is what it looks like. That's that leg, and then that leg is perpendicular. I can make it more perpendicular, but they're both flat on the floor. So, yes, I can do that. Okay, so now about my stomach. I started having a lot of vomiting when I was a little kid, and it didn't really seem to be connected to food or anything like that. My country pediatrician always just kept me on the brat diet, which was bananas, rice, apples, and toast. Not helpful for me personally. I don't know about for other people with EDS, but not for me. And then I started having it wasn't constipation. Doctors always accused me of lying about constipation. I knew it wasn't a blockage. There was no blockage there at all. I knew that my muscles weren't moving in my stomach and in my colon. They weren't pulling the food down. So by the time I was in high school, I was throwing up. And that it started, once a month and then became once a week. And by 5 or 6 years ago, it was just about every day. And then within the last couple of years, it got several times a day. So, and then also, I can't quite describe the feeling of it. For me, it feels like it's a horrible cramp before I throw up, but it feels like a stabbing pain, kind of, and I'll explain that too. But I had a lot of colonoscopies as a kid, and they never found anything because there was no blockage, because they were going the wrong way. And I had a doctor when I was 13. I've had a lot of weight swings, like 40, 50-pound weight swings over my life, probably 5. And the first one was when I was 13. A doctor thought that a good way to treat my stomach problems would be to shoot me in the butt with a 14-day injection of penicillin. And it turns out I'm allergic to penicillin. So that was horrible, and I lost an enormous amount of weight as a child, which didn't feel good. But I gained that back, and then lost it, and gained it, and lost it, and gained it. So I've never been the sort of person who could have just one size clothing in their closet. It's just been all over the place. I can gain or lose 8 pounds in a day just eating completely normally, and 15 pounds within a week. And the reason for this is because I have something called gastroparesis. Now, gastroparesis, if you look on the Wikipedia page, which I know isn't, the knowledge source for doctors, certainly. But if you look in the Wikipedia page for gastroparesis, Ehlers-Danlos is listed as one of the causes. And so I knew that there was a connection there. And as soon as I learned about gastroparesis, the description of it was exactly what I was feeling. The muscles not pulling the food down. And I told my doctor that that's what I had. And even very, very recently, and he didn't really believe me because he said only people with diabetes get that. Well, he's an amazing gastroenterologist, but didn't have any experience with EDS. And he looked it up on his medical servers and couldn't find anything. There was nothing. Nothing about gastroenterological symptoms. And so he said, I know this was on my boards. So this guy is at least in his 50s, so his medical boards were not recently. And he turns around and pulls these books out that are so old, and he's reading to me what the stomach problems are with EDS, and I'm like, it's not exactly new information. But so I had more colonoscopies and esophagus tests and all sorts of things. But ultimately, what I needed was a stomach emptying test, a gastric emptying test. And what that was I went into Cedars-Sinai here in LA, and there was a room with this crazy huge machine. It was great, really futuristic looking, and screens, computer screens. And they served me, I hate eggs so much. They served me on wheat toast that was like soggy, like an omelet that had jelly on it, and either the jelly or the egg, I don't know, was injected with some sort of nuclear something or other. Again, not a doctor. But anyway, so I ate this thing, and then they watched it, try to go through my stomach. And then I left and came back to the hospital 2 hours later. They looked again. I left and came back an hour later. They looked again. And I knew that my stomach should have been pretty much emptied by the end. And I was watching the screen, and it was not happening. No food was leaving my stomach. So that was proof that I have gastroparesis, like I thought. But the other thing is, the gastroparesis, what it is, okay, I have a drawing. Here's your stomach. I'm not an artist. Here's your stomach. This dotted line is your diaphragm, which is like a sheet of muscle that goes over all of this. But here's your esophagus, your stomach, and then your large intestine and your small intestine, which is sort of abstract there, sorry. So with gastroparesis, what I have, food comes down your esophagus, fills up your stomach, and then I don't know what happens there. I've read so much stuff, and it seems like nobody knows what happens there. But the muscles are just like, no. So no food goes down. There's no blockage, at least for me. It's just not happening. So nothing happens here. So the stomach fills up, and then it goes, and that's what was causing my issues. But the other thing that I didn't expect was I now have a hiatal hernia, which means that when the food was coming up here, it expands your esophagus into your chest cavity and like through your diaphragm, and oh, it sounds horrible. It doesn't hurt that much, at least for me right now, but the sound of it is just horrifying. But yeah, it balloons out here, and that's the stabbing pain that I was getting, was it pushing the walls of my esophagus. So now the treatment that I'm on treatment, yay! Is I take 250 milligrams of erythromycin, that stuff. Well, it says erythrocin. I don't know if that's a target error or a medicine I'm not aware of. But anyway, take 250 milligrams of that 30 minutes before I eat, every time I eat. And that has made it stop, at least for now. I've only been on it a couple weeks, so things could change, certainly. But I can feel the muscles like moving, and things are working the way they're supposed to. Yeah, the only problem is that erythromycin is like kind of a heavy duty antibiotic. It's used for like chlamydia and gonorrhea and all sorts of infections. And if I eat 5 small meals a day, I'm taking 1.25 grams of erythromycin a day, which is not, I think, super good for you. So I'm trying to eat just once or twice a day, but that's not good for you either, so none of this is good for you. Don't listen to anything I'm saying. This is just my personal experience, once again. Not advice, necessarily. And the other thing is that erythromycin, if you take it for a long period of time, it can cause a buildup of some sort of scary bacteria. And also, it's processed through your liver. And I'm on other medicines that are kind of hard on the liver, so I'm a little wary of that, but I mean, it's helping my life right now, so yay. As far as food is concerned, I don't have a grasp on it yet, honestly. It's been my whole life, and I still don't know. I was a vegetarian for 18 years, which I don't think helped things because I was a very lazy vegetarian and didn't get a lot of protein. Now, in talking to other people who have the same conditions that I have, I find that people say, and I think this is kind of true, that high protein and fat is good. I sort of miss my veggies, so I do a lot of this. But the thing is, the fiber is so bad for me. Or I don't know if it's medically bad for me. It doesn't work well for me. Like when I had a really bad episode of the gastroparesis and nothing going down, my mom, bless her heart, was trying so hard to save me and was shoveling Metamucil down my face. Well, what that was doing was creating this matzo ball of pain in my stomach where the fiber was just balling up. And I couldn't pass it, and it was horrible. So, and now anytime I have fiber, it just hurts in my stomach and things don't work properly. So I try to avoid super high fiber foods. Other than that, I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know. Hopefully things will get better. If you have stomach problems from EDS or any questions at all, please leave them in the comments. I am done for now. Okay, see you soon.